Alright guys, I did a live stream for this one, but I went and rewatched it. It was super choppy, so I've unlisted that. I'm going to start from scratch. So here's the goal today. What we're doing is we're looking at the best tool for the job for a construction-related business, specifically one that's field service. So this is Bulletproof Handyman. We're driving all over town every day, fixing stuff. And while we're doing that, we're using gas, we're using oil, we're putting miles on our vehicles, and we have certain requirements. We need inventories, we need tools, we need to carry heavy materials, and we want to know what's the best tool for the job on this. So I thought I'd do a video on electric vehicles. And the reason is because I personally, and I don't talk about my own personal tastes much on here, but I'm a big Tesla fan in general. I'm a big Elon Musk fan in general. I know there's all sorts of political ramifications around all of that, but I'm not worried about the political ramifications. I'm not worried about saving the environment, not worried about carbon dioxide. What I'm worried about is what is the best tool to run my business being driving all over town, fixing stuff all day, every day. So I got online, I looked everything up. There's a lot you can choose from. There's the Rivian pickup truck. There's the Lordstown Endurance. Hummer's doing an EV. There's the Ford Lightning. And then last but definitely not least is the Tesla Cybertruck. And if you can't tell, the direction this is going to go in is the Tesla Cybertruck. But I'm not going to tell you to get it for any number of stupid reasons. I'm going to tell you why I feel like that's actually the best tool for this business. So I've got some comparisons here. Now, the Lordstown Endurance, the Rivian, and all of that, they just don't compare enough for me to put them in this video and take up a bunch of extra time. Essentially, the competition is between Ford and Tesla. So we're just going to go through some stats here. And before we get started, I'm going to say that both the Ford and the Tesla, what I've done here is I'm looking at the best model you can get. They offer options up and down depending on how many motors you want, how big of a battery you want, what trim packages you want and stuff. And so what it comes down to is the Ford top package for the Ford with extended battery and all that's about 90 grand. And I'm sure a lot of that 90 might just be interior stuff, like trim package for the interior. So maybe that can come down closer. But Tesla right now, and we don't know until they actually start producing it, looks like the top end is going to be about 70 grand. Now my guess is it's going to be more like 80. I think you're going to be able to buy the tri-motor with the biggest battery and all the upgrades. Is probably going to be around 80, maybe a little tiny bit more, but about 80. So these are comparable in price. You know, if you go to Home Depot and you're looking at drills and you've got an $80 drill and a $90 drill, you're not going to worry about that $10. You're going to say, which one out of these two is the best tool for me? So let's go through some specs. The mileage, which to me is probably one of the biggest ones because I drive a lot. So I went on Google for my phone and had it tell me what my mileage is. And I could give you a whole long spiel about the average highs, average lows, etc., etc. But here's what I'm going to boil it down to. My highest miles per month, the busiest day of that month, the most miles driven tends to be around 125. It could be 150, it could be 115, but 125. But let's go with like sort of more of an average. We're looking at 80 miles a day. So right off the bat, both of these trucks can handle the mileage. The Ford has about 300 miles a day. The Cybertruck has about 500 miles a day. And that's going to come into play later because what we're going to be looking at with that 500 miles is that in many ways what that represents is, let's say, the capacity left in that battery after driving the required number of miles. How much battery do you have left for a lot of other things, like adding weight to the vehicle? The more you put in it, the fewer miles you're going to get. The faster you drive, the fewer miles you're going to get. The more you're towing, the fewer miles you're going to get. The more electricity you use from the outlets, etc., the fewer miles you're going to get. So for me, higher miles, like higher range for driving, to me, when I hear a higher number, what I hear is I can do more with it after I've driven those miles and while driving those miles. So Ford's 300 miles, Tesla's 500 miles. Torque. And torque is kind of how much power you have for that get up and go, or for getting uphill, or for towing heavy things. And the torque, Ford's sitting at 775 pounds, and Tesla's sitting at 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. That's a fairly significant difference. I wouldn't use that to make any decisions, because the truth is I don't need to go up steep hills a lot. When I tow stuff, they'll both tow quite a bit, although the Tesla will tow more. But for me, the torque is not going to be a game changer, so I'm just going to give you the numbers. Ford 775, Tesla 1,000. Storage. Now, for sure, the Ford has a frunk. So it's a front trunk. It's under the hood. There's some storage. I really like that. I think the Tesla's going to have it, but the truth is right now, nobody really knows for sure about the Tesla's front end and if there's going to be some storage up there, although they have indicated that there will be, maybe just not to the extent that the Ford has the frunk. But on the back end, though, you got to look at this. So over here, here's, if you see where my cursor is, this is the Ford bed. This is 5.5 feet. To me, that's a short bed. I drive a 72 Chevy pickup with an 8-foot bed, and I drive a very large extended wheelbase Chevy van that has some stupid like 12 feet of bed. It's got lots of space back here. So this Ford's got 5.5 feet, and as high, I guess, as you feel safe going. And then over here on the Cybertruck, this Cybertruck is much bigger than it looks. This is a gigantic vehicle. That's the one thing everybody has to say about it. If they see it in person, or when you see videos of people walking around it, you notice that it's just giant. It's much bigger than it looks. So this bed back here is 6.5 feet. That's a huge difference, that extra foot. And here's what's even better is you can let the tailgate down on the Cybertruck, and then it has a little flip up in the back. And when you let that gate down and flip up that back end, you can stack full 4x8 sheets of plywood or drywall or whatever you've got in between the wells, on the floor, all the way forward, all the way back. It can sit in there. You're not going to have to prop it up on anything. You're not going to have to tie it down. It's going to sit in there just like my old 72 Chevy. I can slide it in there and close the gate. With Tesla Cybertruck, you'll have to open the gate, but then you can pop up this extra piece that's going to keep all that in place. Giant deal for me. I'm always hauling around 4x8 sheets of all kinds of things. So Tesla, without a doubt, has got Ford beat in terms of the bed size, and Tesla probably has them beat just in terms of general storage area size to begin with. Also, the Tesla has the cover that goes down over the back. So if you don't have anything super tall in there, you're not hauling furniture and stuff, this cover comes down and locks, and all your stuff is safe and locked up in there, and it's safe from the rain, etc. Whereas with the Ford, now there's not a big deal. You can put a cab on it or something. But the Ford doesn't have that. It's just an open bed. Next, passengers. I've seen different numbers on this. I mean, essentially, they both got 2 rows, one way or the other. You'll be able to fit 6 people if you really need to, if you really want to, even if you got to modify some stuff. But this truck's for a business doing handyman work, so you don't need 6. We're not buying this, if we were to buy it, for hauling our family around or for trips to Mexico. We're buying this so we can do our job. So, yeah, who cares how many passengers, but they're on about even par with that. Outlets, this is what I'm super excited about. And it looks like they're both going to have 120 volt outlets available and 240 volt outlets. So what this means, and I can't find the data today, and I don't know if this is current data, but from what I read before, the Cybertruck will be able to run not only the 240, which they both will. I don't know what the amperage is on the Ford, but I know with the Cybertruck, it's looking like they're going to go the direction of giving you quite a few amps out of that 242. So you can also run some very large power tools. And obviously, you're not going to run like a planer, you know, a big industrial planer for 8 hours straight on it. But if you have some high power equipment that you sometimes need to use, you will be able to plug it in to the Tesla. So they both got the power. That's really great because you can charge your batteries all day. You can plug in extension cords, run some spotlights at night. plug in your, I like to use a corded skill saw rather than my cordless when I'm cutting like 2x10s and I'm having to cut 1.5 inches off the edge of them or something. I prefer the corded so I'm not ruining my batteries. Payload, so how much weight you can actually just put in this thing in the bed. For payload, this is, to me, a significant difference. Ford, you can do 2,235 pounds, and that's nothing to scoff at. But with the Tesla Cybertruck, you can do 3,500 pounds. And to me, 3,500 pounds, boy, that's a lot. That's significantly more than the Ford, over 1,000 pounds more. And if you've ever hauled like a whole bunch of masonry stuff, like a whole bunch of sand and cement blocks and whatnot, that can add up super fast. And there have been times where I've hauled things around where I've needed to haul things that weigh 800 or 900 pounds in and of themselves. And if I weighed everything that's in my van currently, if I just took it all out and weighed it, I'm probably hauling around 1,000 pounds there. So that Ford, I'd be getting really, really close to maxing out. Whereas the Tesla Cybertruck, I don't think I could ever max that out. I can't imagine a scenario where I'm putting 3,500 pounds in there unless it's 3,500 pounds of masonry stuff. And I don't do a lot of masonry, but I do enough of it. Towing capacity. Ford is at 10,000 pounds that you can tow. Tesla's at 14,000 pounds you can tow. And again, this is for the most upgraded version of each of these. So 10,000 versus 14,000 pounds towing capacity, to me, that's a fairly big deal too. The body. So the Ford body, it's just a Ford body, whether it's aluminum, whether it's plastic, whatever parts and pieces they make that body out of. What I do know for a fact is that the Cybertruck is stainless steel. So this means a few things. Number one, no paint, which means you don't have to worry about your paint job. It's stainless steel. You can literally buff it out. Like you can repair stainless steel yourself instead of having to go to a paint shop. As far as dents and stuff, which we all know we're going to get our trucks just dented as shit over time. It's stainless steel. It's going to be more dent proof. They say it's bulletproof. I don't know what thickness that stainless steel is, but the point is the body of the Cybertruck is going to hold up way better than the body of the Ford. Same thing with the windows, with the glass. Ford's going to have just normal vehicle glass in it. Tesla's going to have bulletproof glass. So if things go flying, if shit happens when you're doing your job, something falls on the glass, it's possible to break. I think most of us saw Elon Musk break it when he threw that stainless steel ball at the window, and it wasn't supposed to break it, but it did. But nonetheless, despite the fact that sometimes things fail, the glass on your Cybertruck is going to be relatively unbreakable and bulletproof compared to the glass on the Ford. Now, clearance, I swear, this is one of my biggest issues with Ford. This would be a deal breaker for me if there wasn't something else that I'm going to get to at the end that's already a deal breaker. The clearance on the Ford, you've got 8.4 inches. That's ridiculous, man. Like, I don't think you should call it a pickup truck if it's 8.4 inches. The Cybertruck is going to have air suspension, so you can raise and lower the suspension on this thing depending on what you need. By the way, it can use that to self-level and stuff too. But 16 inches of clearance. So literally the Tesla has double the clearance of the Ford. And I have jobs out here that I go to, like same properties that I've been to multiple times, where even my big old giant 3,500 work van sometimes has a little bit of an issue trying to get over some stuff. So to have that 16 inches of clearance, almost a deal breaker. It would be a deal breaker if it wasn't for what I'm going to get to at the end here. So the Tesla Cybertruck, this is a new feature. I don't know for sure that this is going to be on all of them because, again, nobody does. But it looks like they've added dual steering. So it's going to steer from the front like a normal vehicle, but it will also be capable of turning the rear wheels. And as I was saying before, this is a giant vehicle. So when you've got this humongous vehicle, when I try to park my van, which is the extended wheelbase version Chevy 3500, it's not hard to park, but I mean, I got to be just spot on sometimes in these tiny parking lots and just barely make it into a spot. So it's going to be super handy for the Cybertruck to be able to help you out by swinging that rear end around so that you can then get into that parking spot or just in and out of lots of different places. But here's the kicker. This is the big thing for me. This is what it seals the deal. It makes it so that I'm just not going to look at anybody else. Now, Tesla full self-driving, if any of y'all follow Tesla, whether you love them or hate them, you're aware that it's not ready yet and that it's always been about a year from being ready. It seems like it's been 5 years now that full self-driving is going to be completely ready to go autopilot next year. And it's not there yet, although the beta's there and it's working very well. But I'm assuming if I order this truck today, if I were to order a Cybertruck today, probably not going to get it for a couple years. In fact, I can't afford it today. But the way my business is going, I can very easily see that in a couple years, I will definitely be able to afford it. You can reserve this thing for $100, which is almost nothing really. And I believe it's even refundable. But if it's not, who cares? In 2 years, if they say, hey, we're ready to deliver your Cybertruck, you can just say, I don't have the money, so I'm not going to buy it. And that's that. But I think I'm going to be able to. So full self-driving right now looks like it's going to cost about $10,000, and almost certainly now that the beta version's out and it's working fairly well, I feel confident that in 2 years, when I can actually get my Cybertruck that I ordered today, self-driving is going to be working, and I'm going to be able to I'm going to get in my truck and I'm going to tell it where to go, and then I'm going to turn and I'm going to get on my laptop because I'm probably going to take the passenger seat out, or I'm going to retrofit what I need to retrofit and add some stuff where my truck's driving this way and I'm going to be to the side over here and I'm going to be doing admin work. I'm going to be scheduling. I'm going to be calling people. I'm going to be getting back in touch with property managers with all the different messages they send with questions. All the shit that I have to do when I get home, I'm going to now be able to do on the road instead of just driving for 75 to 125 miles a day. Instead of all that driving time, I'm going to be doing my job. I'm going to actually be productive. So I'm going to show you some math on this. This is all essentially hypothetical here, but let's do some quick math. So let's say I drive 75 to 125 miles a day. I know that's a big range, but we're going to go with the bottom of that range because we want to assign a dollar value to how much time self-driving is going to save us. So 75 miles a day. And now I do that 6 days a week, minimum, sometimes 7. I just finished a 14-day stint where I worked 14 days straight, but I am taking 2 days off now. So, well, it's not days off. Here's the point. It's not days off. I'm on this computer for 2 days instead of actually having 2 days off where I can relax. So I'm going to be able to take care of all this on the road. So 75 miles a day, we're going to do times 5 days a week, even though for me it's really 6. So that gives me 375 miles per week times 50 weeks per year. Now, I work 52 weeks per year, but we're going to call it 50 because I would like it to be 50. You know what I'm saying? 18,750 miles per year. What's my average speed? I'm going to call that 40 miles an hour. I think it's actually less, but sometimes I'm on the interstate shooting north or south real quick, and that's, 5 minutes on the interstate, and the rest of it's all through town. Stop and go, red lights, stop signs, 35 to 45 miles an hour. So I'm going to take this 18,750, and I'm going to divide that by 40 miles an hour. That gives me 468 hours per year that I'm spending driving on the job. My time, I bill roughly $100 an hour. Honestly, a bit more than that now, but we're trying to do easy numbers here. So 468 hours per year of driving times $100 per hour tells me that the value per year of Tesla full self-driving, if it's full self-driving and I can utilize that time and make money during that time, or rather open up new time, because now I don't need to go home at 2 or 3 p.m. so that I can put 2 hours in on the computer, and I don't need to take days off anymore. That's wasted time. So if my time is worth $100 an hour, and if it means I can fit in more hours in my day, I mean, goddamn, guys, the one thing we can't get is time. Time management is 100% of this business. When you're trying to max out your income and you're at $100 an hour, every extra hour you can get of productivity is another $100 in your pocket. So full self-driving, to me, is worth $46,000 a year. Now, I wouldn't pay $46,000 for it because I've had to work more to pay for it. But full self-driving, one-time payment, $10,000. And for that $10,000 every year, I'm going to get $46,000 worth of value out of it. Well, I'll tell you what, if somebody told me there was a stock I could invest in, that if I put $10,000 in January, I could cash out $46,000 at the end of December, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to purchase this truck. I'm going to put my reservation down today, literally when I'm done with this video. I've been waiting to make this video. That's my cutoff moment. When I'm done, I'm going to go to the website. It takes about 2 minutes. You literally just click a button and you put in your credit card info and your personal info, pay $100, and you've got one reserved. And then what will happen is when that truck's ready, when they're ready to deliver it to you, or shortly before they're ready to deliver it to you, they're going to let you know, and that's when you're going to need to come up with the money. I'm very confident that in the next 2 years, I'm going to be in a position where I can just simply get a loan for the business to purchase a new business vehicle, which will be this truck, which is going to save me $46,000 worth of hours per year at the $100 an hour. So it's going to mean one of two things. It's either going to mean I don't come home at 2 or 3 anymore, and instead I stay out and I work till 5 rather than coming home at 2 or 3 so that I can work on the computer till 5. Or it's going to mean, so that would be 2 extra jobs, by the way. So that's an extra, $200-300 a day that I can make in income. Or it means I work exactly the same number of jobs, but when I come home at the end of the day, I get time with my family, and I don't get enough time with them ever. And I know neither of y'all do if you're out there hustling. So this is a game changer. $46,000 is, in my opinion, 47 almost. In my opinion, that's the value that this vehicle is going to add to my life every year. So I'm going to be getting one. So sorry about the live stream if y'all joined in. I was glad to have you there, but I rewatched it and it was way too choppy. There was huge important parts missing where it was just apparently buffering or something. Hopefully this video is not nearly as bad, but I've got a shitty old computer. That's what I've got, guys. It's just, this is what I have to work with. Hopefully you're not here for the entertainment, you're here for the information. And if you're here for the information, you just received it. So I want y'all to have a great day and just go reserve your damn self Cybertruck, And they're not paying me anything. They have no advertising budget. Tesla doesn't advertise, and they don't pay other people to advertise. This is me wanting to let you know that you can add a lot of value to your business in 2 years if you just invest this $100 today. And if you wait 6 more months to go reserve your Cybertruck, guess what? It's going to take an additional 6 months before you get your Cybertruck. So that's an additional 6 months that you're not getting this value. It's going to cost you $46,000 if you wait a year. You're going to lose that $46,000 worth of value that you could have had if your business is running similar to mine. So y'all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all later.